So, Mark, did you see that Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson are now selling edibles as a commemoration of their fight 25 years ago where Tyson bit off Holyfield's ears? What is the world coming to? What are we going to see next?
Hey, anything for a buck. I mean, I think it's funny they said if I was on weed back then, I wouldn't have bitten his ear. Like I would have been more mellow. So that's about as good as a campaign as you can put together. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that they're doing it together too, and it's just kind of the world we're in now. Take advantage of anything you can, really, I guess.
Yeah, Tyson apparently has this Tyson 2.0 products, edible products already out, and Holyfield's going to come out with his own products, and then they have this joint product. They're going to be on sale in Arizona, Illinois, Nevada, and New Jersey. So soon you'll be able to go take a bite out of Holyfield's ear and then feel pretty good afterwards. So good times.
So weird. So weird.
All right, Mark, let's get into the news today. And today we're going to talk about the old Riviera lot, specifically that 10 acres that's in front of the new west expansion of the convention center.
And you know what that's right next to?
What?
Well, Riviera at least is right next to the best restaurant in Vegas, right?
Peppermill, yeah. Yeah, so Peppermill is going to be very happy about this. But also Resorts World, Fontainebleau are right there. And specifically when they built this, they built the west expansion on the backside of the property so that they could sell off this 10 acres of strip frontage. And they actually made this sale before COVID to a Chilean businessman, Claudio Fisher. And of course, with COVID, things sort of fell through. Eventually, they put him back on the burner. And now this deal is set to close probably by the end of the month, if not by December 15th, $120 million for this 10 acres. That money's all going to go towards renovating the old halls at the convention center. So we don't know what he's going to do, though. I mean, we'll talk about him in a little bit, but we have to think a casino is going to go there, right?
I guess. Do you think it will do well, though? Like, that's kind of a tough little pocket to be in. I mean, I know Resorts World is there, which they're already kind of struggling being a little bit on their own. Wynn can make that area work because it's Wynn and people are going to go and they don't mind being just on that resort. But you don't have that same connectivity that you have on Fremont or even, further south on the Strip. So I wonder, maybe Peppermill should just expand. He should just open up a really, really big Peppermill. That'd be cool.
Yeah, like the Peppermill Hotel in Reno. I don't know. I mean, so there's only 10 acres there. So that is a small lot. I mean, let's not play around with that. It's a very small lot. He has until 2031 to start building, so he has time to figure this out. If he doesn't do that, then the Convention and Visitors Authority can buy the land back. But this guy, he owns airlines, a bunch of stuff, including the Monticello Resort in Santiago, Chile, and the Park Hyatt Mendoza, which is a hotel that's in Buenos Aires that I've heard lots of good things about. So he knows high-end properties. And, this is going to be very convenient to the convention center, basically right in front of it. So you won't even have to cross a street. So, and, I can't imagine the hotel portion would be all that big given the acreage. But yeah, I think there's room there for a small casino, high-end, attract business travelers. You're also going to have Fontainebleau open by that time. You also have Resorts World right there. And so that's a little bit more synergy on the North Strip to draw people up there.
Yeah, if he goes, high end, I think it could work. With a smaller property, you pretty much have to, either you have to go really high end or just slots of fun, low end, I guess. But when you're paying that kind of price tag for 10 acres, I don't think you're going to go low end, So that would be my guess. Plus, with him owning Park Hyatts and stuff like that, and being in that market already, maybe this will be like another Hyatt tie-in, because he has history with them. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly wanted to pursue this. He's been going after this piece of land for several years. And as you point out, you'll be steps away from Peppermill. So what could be better than that? But yeah, this should
if they
close
can stay open and get people to work there, man.
Yeah, yeah.
When I walked over there at 9 p.m. and the door was locked, I was very upset.
So yeah, let us know what you guys think about this. Are you excited for another new possible casino? We have the Tillman Fertitta Casino on the South Strip. We have this. We have the Dream Resort on the South Strip. Majestic has been announced for just across on Convention Center Drive. So a lot of new projects announced. Of course, AllNet Arena is still in the mix with some hotels as well on the North Strip, if that ever happens. So
I'm still down Fontainebleau when you say it should be open by then. Yeah, sure. I'll believe it when the doors open.
Along. They're only a year away, so we're getting close. We're getting close. It's too late to turn
dog
back
years.
All right, so another casino was robbed, which is sort of crazy. We talked on the last.
Chris Angel needs money. He can't sell tickets. So I mean, don't hate on him too much. He's got a taxi cab driver driving him around, stealing money.
Making that money disappear.
He makes it disappear. Yeah, it's magic. It's not really theft if you make it disappear, right?
There you go. So he's going to get away with it. But this time it was the Gold Coast, and it was happening in the early evening hours. Not as much detail. He didn't take a taxi, but he did get away with it. On the last show when we talked about Resorts World and that robbery, which, by the way, they've released so little about, whereas the Gold Coast, I think they released a little bit more about the suspect and everything else. So who knows what's going on with all of that. But people were saying that in a lot of casinos, the security is trained not to engage. They don't want to have any armed conflicts. It used to be Vegas security guards were all armed, or a significant amount of them were. I know when I worked back at MGM Grand in the day, they were all ex-Marines and they were all armed. But nowadays, most casino security is not armed. So it makes sense that they wouldn't want to engage somebody running out of a casino after they robbed it. So that's probably what happens. It's probably, if you don't have a good way to detain them, let them go and let the police follow up. Obviously, you're going to be on 1 million cameras. So, but another casino rob, so that's 2 in a week. Yeah, craziness.
Kind of makes me think like Halloween's the just put some face paint on like you're dressed up and go rob some casinos because it won't do anything. I'm just kidding, people. Don't go out there and do that and say I told you to. But no, it's kind of crazy. I'm surprised they had 30K just kind of lying around in the cage at 5:30 p.m. And that's another thing, at 5:30 p.m. seems like a random time, but probably a bit busier with people coming in after work or gambling a little bit before dinner type of thing. But you just don't expect it to happen during regular hours. Vegas is a little bit crazy right now.
Crazy indeed. So hopefully they catch this person, and hopefully we don't see any more stories of robberies. I mean, like I said, it does happen. People do get away a lot of the time. A lot of times they're also caught later, or most of the time, I would say, almost all of the time. So not that there have been a few that have never been solved, but for the most part, they catch these guys later. So hopefully that happens, keeping everybody safe.
Maybe it'll be like that one guy that the story came out, was it earlier this year or whatever, that on his deathbed he admitted to robbing a bank or something when he was younger, and he kept it a secret all that time. That's the thing. You got to rob one thing and then never do it again. You always get caught on the follow-up robberies.
Yeah, and $30,000 is a lot of money, but also not enough to go escape to Mexico for the rest of your life and disappear on a beach in Zihuatanejo. All right. So we talked on the last show, I teased that we went to South Point, and I wanted to talk about that just a little bit. I talked a little bit about the history of South Point a couple shows ago, in that it was originally the South Coast as part of Coast Casinos, along with Gold Coast, Orleans, Suncoast. And that company was sold off to Boyd Gaming, and Michael Gahn, who owned Coast Casinos, became part of their board, eventually left, and he agreed to purchase the South Point. He renamed it South Coast to South Point. And it's been there for about 15 years or so. And this is one of those like mega local casinos. They have a bowling alley. They have a movie theater. They have the largest equestrian space in all of Las Vegas. So anytime there's a big horse event, they have it there. They have tons of rooms, really nice, 4-star level rooms. I haven't stayed there in a while, but the rooms are much better than you would expect off the strip. So a lot of people use this casino for tourism. They actually stay there. It's a couple miles south of the proper Las Vegas Strip. And I was there on Saturday night, and it was busy. Did you see that buffet line? I mean, I cannot imagine waiting in a line for, it had to be at least 2 hours long.
Yeah, I don't know that any food is worth that, much less a buffet. Was it like $4.99? I don't understand why you'd stand there. And this is why you need those platinum cards so you cut the line, or diamond. I don't know how people do it, but I guess it just shows how much people want buffets and how few there are in Vegas right now. But I've never really been a huge buffet guy. I don't think the value's there for me, the way I eat, but definitely would not wait 2 hours for anything. I don't care if it's like melt in your mouth, the best food you've ever had. 2 hours is a long time to stand.
And it's crazy because people do this on the regular. Now, that night was Veterans Day weekend, and people are saying that South Point was offering free buffets for veterans. So that could have caused more of a crowd. But I have seen similar crowds at South Point, at Palms. Of course, Caesar's Bacchanal always has a crazy line. To your point, I always use my Diamond membership. That really comes in handy at Bacchanal, where you can skip past the lines. Yeah, it's like $31 for their weekend buffet, and it has prime rib and a bunch of other stuff. But reviews are mixed. I didn't wait 2 hours. I just filmed them. We went to prime early.
How much was the prime rib at the restaurant that you ended up going to and not waiting 2 hours?
Yeah, so I'll talk about that in a second. I did want to talk about the casino, though, because it was packed full of people. I really like the South Point. It's a very large casino. And they have a good mixture of like new kind of slot machines along with some of the older ones, which, you know, I have some nostalgia from just seeing those, and Jasmine likes to play those, so it was nice to do that. Jasmine sat down at a Buffalo machine, hit a pretty big bonus, like a $300 bonus, pretty much right away. So that covered dinner, left up quite a bit, and then, you know, so it was a good night there. But the tables were packed. It was just busy everywhere. So that was interesting to see, good to see. And we ate at primarily prime rib. And this is back in the day when they had all the coast casinos, they would have a prime rib restaurant along with the steakhouse. They also had their like specialty brands like Kate's Corner ice cream, which I think is Michael Gaughan's daughter's name. They used to have back at their other casinos, these are all gone now, called Terrible Mike's, which was like a hamburger spot where they made homemade hamburgers, and it was fantastic, had a toppings bar, all of that. So it had its own little like ecosystem, and a lot of that still exists at the South Point, including primarily prime rib. And this restaurant isn't fancy, but it's trying to sort of maybe be like Lowry's prime rib, something like that. If you like tableside service, it's really cool because you get tableside tossed salad. You get tableside, like the potatoes are all dressed tableside. So you get that type of service that you might get in a higher end restaurant.
Do they smash them with their hand?
No, no smash. They need to do that and then raise double the prices. Absolutely. But I think the regular prime was $23, which isn't bad. And that actually includes the salad and a potato or vegetable. And the baked potatoes are huge there. So yeah, they come and they toss the salad table side, which is really nice. We've been going here for several years. The last time we were there was just a few days before the shutdown in March of 2020 for our anniversary. And the atmosphere was strange, right? Everybody was just a little bit afraid. It was good to be back there. Unfortunately, it wasn't as good as it's been in the past. The prime rib was just okay. Jasmine's prime rib, she ordered it medium, came out pretty much well done. And the service was really slow. So I'd say the prime rib was good. And for $23, including salad and everything else, I think it's still a pretty good deal. But I was hoping to be able to come on here and recommend it a little bit more. But the service was very, very slow.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say it was really good because, you know, my wife loves prime rib, and she used to love the, what was it, Mad Onion or whatever at Hooters, the old Dan Marino restaurant area. They had like a $9.99 prime rib deal that she said was actually pretty good, surprisingly, and it tasted good. So, you know, that's been gone for a long time, but I was hoping that this would be better. I've never understood the whole tableside tossed salad. Like, why is that a thing? Why do we need to watch somebody go like this before they put it on a plate? It just seems so stupid.
See, I like the novelty of it. I like it. I like just come here, toss my
yeah,
salad.
you just complain that service was slow when you have a person. They could do one salad for everybody and put it on a plate, but they're going to come out there and just, you watch them move spoons around and mix some stuff up. I don't know. I've always thought it was a weird thing. Like, tableside carving, cool, I get it. But tableside salad, I don't know. It never really made sense to me.
For a long time, I would say that this place was a hidden gem because the prime rib is really good. It's high quality, but you know, this time it came out a little bit cold. As you know, they pre-cook prime rib, obviously. So yeah, it was like a average experience, 3 out of 5 or something like that. In the past, I would have said 4.5 out of 5 based on my other experiences. So maybe this is just a one-off bad experience, but the prime rib was still good. It was just a little cold and it wasn't as flavorful as it has been in the past, in my opinion. But it's still a good deal at $23, especially considering the prices of everything else. I actually had the bigger cut, which I think was $36, and I really didn't need it. You know, I convinced myself, oh, I'm hungry, I'll have a bigger cut, but I basically only ate half of it. So I would recommend the normal one. And yeah, it's pretty good. I go to the South Point if you've never been there. It's a cool place. You got movies, you got all kinds of restaurants, a really cool sports book. They still sell those like $1 hot dogs at the sports book there. The Del Mar Deli is home to some of the best bagels in Vegas. They're owned by Bagel Cafe. So yeah, a lot going on there. So I'm glad to kind of highlight it. And if you're ever needing a place to stay and the strip is crazy and you can find a room at South Point, I think it's a good option if you have a car because you can get around and you have just about everything there that you would need. They even have a showroom. So they have so much there for a locals casino. They just don't build them like that anymore. They
don't have any Gordon Ramsay restaurants though. Like that's the key to success is Gordon Ramsay ice cream, Gordon Ramsay prime rib.
Hey, but they got Kate's Corner ice cream, old school.
There you go.
They just need to bring back Terrible Mike's hamburgers. If anybody out there remembers those hamburgers, let me know in the comments. It was like sort of a Fuddruckers, Flaky Jake's kind of concept. It was really good.
They could sell hamburgers with a bite out of it for Terrible Mike's. You know, like an ear.
There you go. Terrible Mike. Yeah, the other thing is they also still have their coffee shop with like the Chinese menu that they used to have at those other properties. You know, it's not the most authentic Chinese food, but for, you know, sort of Americanized style Chinese food is surprisingly good. So yeah, check it out. Glad to be able to show you guys some of that. Now, I did want to talk about, did you see Oscar Goodman? Now, wasn't it like a year ago that he got his statue out in front of the Oscars restaurant at Plaza with Tony Spilotro, which is the famous guy, a mobster who was made famous by the movie Casino. And now apparently he has a second statue that they've unveiled outside of the Fifth Street School in Las Vegas. And as expected, he's drinking a martini.
Yeah, it seems seems weird. Any other city, could you imagine them, you know, putting up multiple statues of a guy that, you know, protected criminals, essentially? Like, that was his job. I know it's like a big history of Vegas, and now since it's looking back, it's thought about like fondly and jokingly and all that. But it just seems so strange to any other. Could you imagine like New York City putting up a statue of like the mob boss's lawyer there?
Hey, that's totally Vegas. He did such a great job of like the end of the mob era came and he sort of reinvented himself, became mayor, and became this beloved figure here. And yeah, it's sort of insane when you think about the history. I mean, he even played himself in the movie Casino, which is just sort of nuts. And I think that was the start of his like celebrity almost. So, I mean, good for him. He's getting up there in years. His wife, Carolyn, is still the mayor of Las Vegas. So the Goodmans have, you know, they've really been good to Las Vegas, especially to downtown. That's been their focus through both of their mayorships, is to revitalize downtown. And we've seen so much of that. And yeah, good to see him get the statue. Of course, he had the showgirls, one on each arm. So he's still doing it Oscar Goodman style. So good to see that. And head downtown. It's just a few blocks from Fremont Street if you want to go see that statue.
Every time I hear Goodman, I just want to say, call Saul Goodman.
Better call Saul. On next week's show, we're going to talk about all of the holiday pop-ups, bars, events you can go to in Las Vegas. So don't miss that. We have a lot to discuss on that, a lot of cool stuff, especially, you know, the big events that you know about, but also cool little pop-ups that are doing specialty drinks and things like that. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think about anything we've talked about today, the Oscar Goodman statue, that land out in front of the convention center, the old Riviera lot, what's going to happen there. Hit us up in the comments. If you like the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you receive notifications of all of our videos. We're releasing 2 a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll see you guys back here on Tuesday. Thanks for watching.
See you next week. Watch earlier this week too.
Yeah.